What's up, guys? Welcome back to Between the Pylons. I'm John Camacho. Thank you so much for watching. And guys, today we are talking about tight end out of Miami, Brevin Jordan. This is a guy who really came on this past year with 7 touchdowns on just 38 receptions. Had 35 receptions last year, but didn't hit the nearly as many yards or the touchdown. So he had a good bump in production. I'm a huge fan of his measurables and what he could be at the next level. Let's get into the film portion of this video, and then we'll talk about his skill chart and where I think he could land in the NFL draft. The first thing that we have to talk about when we talk about Brevin Jordan is his ability with the ball in his hands. And this is probably the most exciting part about his game, right? And they use this play a lot, right? Just get Brevin Jordan out in the flats, quick throw, see what he can do with the ball in his hands. And I have 2 plays here where it just shows his ability to run through contact, fall forward, always really, really exciting. And then here again, like I said, they did this all the time, different ways to get Brevin Jordan the ball in the flats. You gotta love when a tight end hurdles a guy, right? Dives for a touchdown. I think he stepped out before he gets the touchdown, but it doesn't really matter. Again, just trying to show he is really, really good with the ball in his hands. And then the other part of his game is the route running. Now, I'm not going to sit here and say it's spectacular. It's not, but for a tight end, it's really good. He has very fluid hips, has pretty good change of direction skills right here, and I think this play right here shows a lot of that. Catches the ball with his body a lot, I will say that. Now, in this particular situation, you know, that's exactly what you're going to ask him to do, but just in general, that was a note that I had, that he does catch the ball with his body a lot. Still good hands, doesn't really bother me, but it's definitely something worth mentioning. We'll move on here again, and this is just his deep play, big play potential that I see from Brevin Jordan. You'll see this route running really, really good, really sells to the defender that he is running a corner route or an out route, and puts the corner in quicksand there. Obviously gets open, and once he's able to catch the ball, again, with his body here, and what you have to love about this beyond anything else is his ability to finish, right? And granted, there was really no one around, but he definitely shows speed. You see it on the TV copy that nobody catches up to him. No one ever really gets close to him. This is a guy that I want to see utilized in the passing game, and really at every level, right? So I've shown you in the flats what he can do with the ball in his hands. I've shown you his deep play potential, and then here, just a quick, easy slant route. He's very good in the middle of the field. I really do trust him to catch the ball over the middle, to catch the ball in traffic, things like that I have no problem with, and this is just a play to kind of give an example of that right there. I like him a whole lot at every single level of the passing game, and that's not something you can say about a whole lot of tight ends. Now, Brevin Jordan as a blocker is a little bit of a different story, but I throw this play in first just to say he is a physical guy, and he will look to knock your head off when he gets an opportunity. Right here is just a great example, catching kind of a little blindside block. You gotta love the ferociousness there. I don't know. Whenever I see plays like this, I'm always going to throw them in just to show his physicality. He certainly has that. But overall, you know, not a dynamic blocker by any means. Right here, you're going to see the rip move. Brevin Jordan's got beat up by the rip move all year long, and this is, you know, a UAB defender that kind of just throws him off his spot at the bottom of your screen right there. That definitely bothers me a good bit. He's going to have to work on his blocking if he wants to be considered a 3-down tight end. Again, another example, got a big old defensive tackle playing on the edge, and Brevin Jordan has to go up against him. He just has no chance, just absolutely gets beat up off the line. You're going to see that a lot in his pass protecting and his blocking. It's not great. And then even when it's not bad, he still kind of gets beat here again. Look, I show 3 kind of bad plays in a row. It's not all terrible. He definitely has the ability to line up against pretty much anybody and be physical, but it's not pretty. And pretty much any defender that had any sort of technique was able to kind of take advantage of the situation and win that block or win that rep. But again, this is a pass catching tight end. You're not asking him to block consistently at the NFL level, at least not early on in his career. Maybe he can progress into a more fully formed tight end, but right now this is a pass catching weapon, and he's really, really exciting from that regard. Let's get into the skill chart so I can kind of describe Brevin Jordan in a little different way. So first thing that stands out is his route running is really, really good. Like I talked about it in the film portion, but you talk about a guy who has very, very fluid hips, very good change of direction skills, can throw people off a route at the top of their route, can create separation at the top of his route. Everything like that is really, really good, and you have to be excited about that. Athleticism at a 6.9 is really, really good. That is 1 point away from elite, right? I have elite as 7 and above at a 6.9. That is just under elite status for me. physicality. I'm a huge fan of his athleticism. I think he's going to be able to be very dynamic in the NFL. Hands at a 5.3. It honestly would be a little bit higher if I didn't see him catching with his body a little bit more than I would like. Again, this is a small thing. A lot of times it just kind of made sense. It was in a position where he was kind of shielding a blocker from the ball and he had to kind of just catch with his body. But there were other times where it's like, okay, you could have put your hands out and caught that a little bit cleaner than you did. Again, smaller thing. 5.3, fine grade, still a positive grade. I didn't see a whole lot of drops or anything, so I'm not really worried about that at all. Physicality, very physical guy. The only reason that's not like in the elite level is maybe a little bit of his blocking wasn't quite where I would like it to be. Pass blocking, didn't see a lot of reps from this at all, but if I did see it, it wasn't good. Not really what you're going to ask him to do at the NFL level, as I've said. Explosiveness all off the line. This is something that really gets me excited. I talked about it in the Kyle Pitts video. This is something that I'm really starting to take a really, really hard look at with all the tight ends I watch in this class, especially when you get down to like this level of player where it's like, you know, this matters. I want to see your explosiveness. I want to see the athletic profile of a tight end. I think that's the best way to gauge it, is how quickly you can get out of his stance, how quickly he can get upfield, and Brevin Jordan does it very, very well, and he checks that box for me, which is a big thing for me as well. Run blocking, obviously not as bad as pass blocking. He's a physical guy, he can get in there, but as I said, he's not making a living doing that. Release, 5.5, very good, not bad at all. Strength of the point of attack at a 4.2. Again, this is something where just under the average standpoint for me. I think, again, he just got pushed around a little bit more than I would have liked at times. Not a huge deal for me, especially if you're asking him to play in the slot and things like that. Yak at a 7.9. I mean, this is where he's going to make his money, man. I mean, you saw what Miami tried to do. Miami did not have a great passing game. They didn't have a great offense in general, but constantly 4 or 5 times a game, they wanted to get Brevin Jordan the ball in space. I am very excited about this dude's ability to create yards after catch. I am very, very excited about this dude's ability with the ball in his hands. Very, very exciting stuff. This is an elite grade for me. I think that's really the crux of why you draft Brevin Jordan. Really, like, I think that's, if you had to tell me one thing, if I think of Brevin Jordan, I think yards after catch. I think his ability with the ball in his hands, that's what I love, and that's what I want to see more of at the next level. Separation, 6.4. Loved it. I mean, he constantly created separation at the top of his routes. Just another reason to really like his pass catching ability. Guys, when I look at Brevin Jordan, I see a lot of the things that made Mark Andrews really good in the NFL, and I could definitely see Brevin Jordan having that same kind of success, especially if he goes to a place that is built for his skill set, right? Mark Andrews did that, and I could certainly see Brevin Jordan doing a similar type of thing. Now, I would say Mark Andrews is a little bit better of a blocker, but Mark Andrews really isn't a blocker either. So I do believe that there's a good comparison there. That's kind of my comp. It's a rough comp, but that's kind of my comp for Brevin Jordan. And honestly, Mark Andrews went, third round, somewhere like 80s, 90s kind of range. I could see Brevin Jordan falling that far. I honestly think he's a second round tight end. I really do. Like, I know that the value of the tight end position is what it is, and there's a lot of other bigger names out there, but right now, for my money, this is the second best tight end in the class. And granted, tight end is one of those positions where it's so team dependent. I mean, teams will value tight ends on different spectrums entirely, because the skill set can be so diverse. You can play the same position but be good at 2 totally different things. But for my money, on my pretend team, the way I would run my offense, at least, I like Brevin Jordan, and I would certainly take a shot at him. And guys, for all my dynasty lovers, if you're in tight end premium leagues, or if you're in a rookie draft coming up, take a look at this guy. Take a good, long, hard look at this guy. It's going to be dependent on where he goes. That's always the case for tight ends. I think there's only one tight end, especially in this class. Kyle Pitts is the only guy where I would say, I don't care where he goes, he's going to be good. Everyone else, you know, it depends so much on the scheme. How often does the tight end really get a chance to shine? Specifically for fantasy, you can be a good tight end and not produce a lot of numbers. Like, that happens all the time. That's fine. But Brevin Jordan is certainly a name I would look at. And if he goes to a tight end friendly team, look out. But guys, that is all I have on Brevin Jordan. Thank you so much for watching this video. Please consider liking the video and subscribing to the channel if you haven't already. And guys, if you're watching this on a Thursday when it comes out, this is the new release schedule for my draft profile videos. I'm going to be posting on Mondays and Thursdays instead of Mondays and Fridays. And the only reason for that is I think the YouTube algorithm just doesn't really like when I was posting my videos on a Friday. For whatever reason, my Friday videos just weren't performing very well. And it's all relative to what very well is for me, obviously, but I'm a small channel, so I need all the help from the YouTube algorithm I can get. So I decided to move it up a day. Guys, thank you so much for watching. Peace out.